All right, welcome everyone to our debut. I drink wine on weekdays, by the way. Our
Yeah.
date, I can have a little drink of wine.
I knew you were doing drinks and that. I went and got me one.
Yeah, I was thinking about it right before this. I got water instead.
This will build into it. It'll build. This is our Cornhole Insider podcast and our first video edition. And we're actually going to put this on our normal podcast, just the audio, but the video will show up on the Northern Wisconsin Cornhole YouTube site. So please, when you go on there, hit subscribe. We're trying to get a lot of subscribers on there and see where this thing goes. And we're going to start off by, we're really going to focus on some regional stuff. I know when we've done this podcast, we've done a lot of national players, Ryan Windsor, Matt Guy, Brett Guy. We're kind of all over the place, and we're still going to do some national stuff, but we're going to focus in on some more regional stuff. And we've got, you can see Mr. Desert Storm himself, Al Baghdadi is going to be, Al Murphy is going to be helping to host it. We may even get Randy Bubblicious Clemens in here at some point, if you can ever figure out if there's internet up in Ironwood, Michigan. We'll we'll see if we can get him locked in at some point. But as you can see, we have Michael James with us, who's with Coulee Region Cornhole, and we're fresh off the Badger State games. Mr. James, thanks for taking time to join us today. We appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for inviting me. We had a little talk this weekend, and I'm glad we were able to pull this off.
Yeah, this is awesome. We've got again, it's our first time, and I'm just thrilled that we can hear each other and everything's going good. So this will build into bigger and better things. What a great weekend this was at the Badger State games this past weekend, Mr. James. It was sold out basically in the doubles and singles. Is that the first year that that we ever hit that sold out on the singles that early?
Yeah, that was the first time we sold out a week earlier than when they were going to close it. When they try to push people to get registered for the $30 and the $60, and then after a certain point they cut it off so we can get everything all set up and ready. But this is the first time they actually had to cut it off a week early. So it's building, it's growing some legs, and it's taking off. And I think the biggest reason is because it's not affiliated with any of the big organizations. It is about the Wisconsin cornhole thrower, and you don't have to be part of any organization in order to get in. You don't have to pay the extra fees. You don't have to be a member. You could just come out and play against the best of the best in Wisconsin and see where you sit.
Yeah.
Was this the fourth year that you were hosting this, Mike?
Yes, I think so. I think this is year number 4. When we first, I've always had a dream of doing a true state championship. The ACO started coming to Wisconsin and doing one, but I think it kind of turned people away when they saw, number one, the payouts. When you were only getting $200 for first place, and there was 125 players, a lot of people stopped coming. And so I had this grand idea of doing qualifiers at different bars, and I had presented it to the Tavern League of Wisconsin in hopes that we could kind of grow something there. And the Tavern League kind of has this thing that if it doesn't benefit them in some way, somehow, they don't even look at it or even mess with it. So that's where I got talking to Nick at Badger State, and I said, hey, here's my idea. This is what I'd like to do. Badger State is primarily an amateur sport event where you may pay in, but nothing's ever paid out because that money, it's a nonprofit. So that money always goes to help pay for their bills and take care of everything. Well, I told them that's not an option when it comes to cornhole, because people aren't going to come out if there's not, if there isn't any prize money. And so I kind of worked with Nick at Badger State, and we've kicked around different ideas on how to do it and how to handle it, and we've been slowly changing things as we go, and hopefully next year, because we filled this year and we had to close things, I think it kind of definitely stopped people from showing up, doing walk-ups in hopes that there might be some spots open, and there was only a few. But next year we're looking at expanding, getting some more room, adding some more boards, and hopefully, fingers crossed, there isn't any cap, and we can just open it up to everybody and anybody who wants to come and play.
No, you,
That'd be awesome.
yeah, you run a great tournament. And what I really like, when we talk about the Children's Miracle Network, which is your passion, and you make it very clear at the beginning of every tournament that that's what drives you in this. But I like the fact that you treat the, shall we say, the immature players like children at the very beginning, and you make it very clear. You don't show up to your board. You don't listen to the rules. I got a fine jar up here, and we're going to make you pay a fine. I love it that you're raising money for the Children's Miracle Network, and you treat some of the lesser respectful players like children. You say, let's get this tournament moving, right?
Yeah. I'm going in on my 13th year of doing this. I started in August of 2009, raising money for CMN, actually for my wife, for the Children's Miracle Network, because she wanted to ride her bike from somewhere in Illinois all the way down into somewhere in Kentucky. And I was like, you're out of your mind. I don't even want to do that on a motorcycle, much less drive. But she pedaled her bike all the way along the way. But in order to do it, she had to raise money. And we did a small tournament at a park. We only had 16 teams, I think it was. We raised a few $100s, and that was the start of it all. And with that comes those people that you have to explain the rules to over and over and over again. And I've always kind of made it my rule that, you know what, if you come up and ask me a dumb question, basically a question that I covered in the beginning, you owe me $1 and it goes to CMN. So it's just kind of a fun way to kind of say, hey, listen to me. But, you know, it makes it fun because people will come up and they'll ask a dumb quick question on purpose and just throw $1 at me just so they could do it.
Did Dan Walker pay his fine yet for being late to a board?
No, I think Dan Walker owes me about $10.
Okay. Walker, you've been called out, buddy. So why the Children's Miracle Network? What led you to that?
Well, the true beginnings start with my wife. She was the business that she worked at. They had a few organizations that they helped out, and CMN was one of them. And CMN was the one that she did a lot for. And then we met, and it just kind of carried from there. And, you know, the biggest thing is that we've got 5 healthy kids. Now we have 2 healthy grandkids. And it's kind of our passion that, you know, we're blessed to have healthy kids and we don't have to worry about medical bills. And there are so many kids that are in the hospital. They don't get to be they don't get to be a kid at home. They don't get to get yelled at by mom and dad for doing something stupid. They don't get to get picked on by their brothers or sisters, or, you know, they're stuck in a hospital. And every kid should be at home being a kid. You know, it's all of us adults will say we'll take the sickness for any kid any day, because a kid as a kid should be able to be happy and healthy and, you know, go through the kids things that they all go through. So for us, it's that even if it's $1, like doing this tournament, if we raise $10, that $10 is a meal ticket for a family. That $10 is gas in the gas tank to go see their kid, because sometimes their kids have to go to another hospital and they have to make that trip every week or every day, you know, still have to come home and, you know, and go to work, or still have to come home and take care of the family. And so, you know, that food ticket or that, you know, gas card is huge. But, you know, last year we kind of blew right through the roof. COVID kind of kept everybody inside, especially in Minnesota and Iowa. They really, you know, they were kind of stuck inside from doing anything. And the CMN tournament hit at the perfect time where everything kind of opened up, and Minnesota and Iowa took off and they all came to lacrosse. And we had the highest number of teams and people at the tournament, and we raised over $31,000. It was my goal to hit 20 because we hadn't done it yet. And we blew right past 20 and went right to 30. And it was
that a combination of all your events you did, or just that one?
Just that one.
Wow.
That is the big one. I do a ton of tournaments all year round, and those are just tournaments to do tournaments. You know, people hire me to come out and run events. But the reason I do it is so that way I can talk about CMN and I can say, hey, this is coming up in March, put it on your calendars. And the biggest thing is even if they can't make it, if they can share the event, if they could talk about the event, or even if they're able to donate something, that's the biggest thing, like getting those raffle items. People just pour money into the raffles. And one of the big things I started doing was bag raffles. I've done some artwork over the years. I'm a graphic designer by trade. So I've done a lot of artwork for a lot of different bag makers, and I've kind of touched base with them and said, hey, would you mind donating some bags? Well, I've gotten my hands on a good handful of bags, and people will just dump in money into, those kind of raffles. And whatever I don't get through at CMN, because I get so many of them, I bring over to the Ryder Cup. That's about 3 weeks later. And we have a pile of, cornhole enthusiasts that come to that event, and I'm able to raise a lot more money there. I think last year, about $4,000 of that 13 or that 31,000 came just from the Ryder Cup, from the leftover bags that I had and doing the raffles at the Ryder Cup. So yeah, it's CMN is just something that has touched our lives, just from having healthy kids. And then when you come to that tournament and you get to see some of the heroes, they always bring a hero. CMN picks 5 or 6 kids to be heroes, representatives of CMN, and they go around and they talk about their stories. And that is the most important part of our tournament, is that very beginning, when we get to hear the story of how a mom or a dad or the family has been helped by the money that CMN has given them. And those are usually tough stories to get through without, dropping a tear or two, because it's amazing what those families go through, and to know that what we're doing helps is huge.
Yeah, we're hoping Al, last year, I know our tournament up there, we kicked some money in for the Children's Miracle Network, Al, and I think that kind of doing that, hoping that maybe some other people do that around the area too, right, Al?
Yeah, that was kind of my idea, doing it, that I thought maybe it would catch on where other people would run a tournament and send some money your way too, the more the better.
Yeah, and I appreciate that you and others do that. Will Backey and Bruce Stearns are 2 big guys that have done that for me in the past. April Lamser and her group, they've gotten together and they'll do little things here and there. They'll just be like, hey, we're going to have a jar here, throw some money in it. And they've donated. And I never expect it, because I don't expect other areas and other people to do that kind of thing. I just figure everybody would come to CMN and, kind of donate there. And then to have guys like you show up with money and say, oh yeah, by the way, here you go. It's like, what? This is awesome. So, I mean, it also adds to that, whether you're helping me or you're helping another organization, that other directors or other people out there are kind of thinking that same thing, like, hey, we can do something to help people in our community, or people in our state, or people in the United States, something that, helps grow and shows that we as human beings can help other people. We can be selfless and help those that, are less fortunate than ourselves.
Yeah, even if they just pick a specific raffle at a tournament, maybe just make that for the Children's Miracle Network. And that money goes, this isn't just a big city thing, that has a local touch right here, I think, in the Marshfield area even too, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's different sections, there's different areas, and it all depends on if you have a hospital, an actual children's hospital that has CMN in it. I know our area is pretty large of, the graphical area of people that it helps. So yeah, the money comes here, stays here, or helps here, but it's also helping this wide range of cities and states and counties.
Yeah, you kind of clump up your tournaments. You've got several kind of in a 3-month period or so. The Ryder Cup, the 8-man is all sold out, but people can still come down and support that even if they're not playing. You got a couple other. You got the Ice in the Hole, I think, event coming up. You kind of clump them together and get her done there in a short time span, don't you?
Yeah, after all these years of doing all sorts of tournaments, I have what I call the CRC, or the Coulee Regional Cornhole Big 5, and they all happen in the first.
I'll probably just wait until I pick you up.
The first 2 or 3 months, because come summer, we're all going nonstop in our areas. So I started in January with my ice in the hole rotating partners. This year we had 60, we opened it up to 60 players, and it flew. It was great. Then we moved into the All Valley 4-man. And then this last weekend was the Badger State Games with CMN, the Children's Miracle Network tournament in the middle of March. And then to round up the Big Five is the Big Ryder Cup tournament. That one we get 32 teams of 8 from all around. I've reached out to 6 or 7 different states that have come in over the years to come and play. So those are my Big Five. Those are the ones that people will travel to and play in, and they're a lot of fun. I enjoy doing them. They're a ton of work, but when the event finally gets there and we all get to just come in and play, it's great. We enjoy it.
All right.
I wish you were a little closer. We'd be at all of them.
Right? We are at the complete opposite ends of the state. That's the worst part, is that we're so far away, because I have yet to make it up your way, to play an event. And it's the one thing that I talk to a lot of directors about. When you're a director in your area running tournaments, it makes it very hard for you to travel. And now that I've picked up and I'm, come April, after I finish the Ryder Cup, I run every single weekend until mid-October. I have a tournament either every Saturday or sometimes Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I believe I had a quadruple tournament weekend where I had Friday, 2 Saturday and a Sunday, or maybe it was a Friday, Saturday, and 2 Sundays. I can't remember, but they all kind of group themselves together. Usually the 4th of July weekend's pretty busy too, but it makes it tough because I'd love to make it up that way to play. I'd love to make it up in, to the top of Minnesota or over to South Dakota, or down in Illinois and Indiana. Those guys have a crap ton of game, tournaments. But it's tough. It's tough to travel when you run events.
All right, Mike, I'm going to ask you just a second for your top 3 troublemakers at your tournament. So you think about that for a second, and we're going to call them out. People can go to Coulee Region Cornhole.
I bet you I know who one of them is.
I know.
And maybe I leave that alone because I don't want to cause any more trouble.
You can go to Coulee Region Cornhole on Facebook and check out all the events and all the cool things happen there in the lacrosse area. So I got some names in mind for your troublemakers. Chris Evans comes to mind, and Too Tall over in Minnesota comes to mind, and any other guys you want to call out that are great supporters, I'm sure, of you, but also give you a hard time?
I'm only going to do this because he's going to expect it. Andy Graff. He is my big troublemaker. If he isn't causing trouble, or he's not stepping out 6 feet or 12 feet to try to hit a side shot, he causes all the trouble. He's the guy that never listens. He's the guy that always asks me a question or has to ask me what board he's on. And Chris Evans, he's right. He's just the loud guy. He's the loud guy that everybody knows. And if you don't know Chris, sometimes he rubs you the wrong way. But if you know Chris, you love him to death. He's an absolute sweetheart. But those are all fun. Those are all guys that make it fun and kind of keep things interesting. It's the drunks. It's those that really, have something to say about everything or complain about payouts or whatever. Those are the guys that you really, that wear on you. But, you get those have become far and few between, or, you learn as a director how to deal with those kind of people. So,
yeah.
But the rest of it's all fun.
And it really is a cornhole family, and that family gets bigger and bigger. I know my son and I started playing about 3-4 years ago, and it was kind of a local group that we had family. Now it's expanded out. At Badger State this past weekend, I felt like I so many people there that I've known and seen from all over the state, and now even Minnesota. But that's what's great about our cornhole family, is we come together when someone's in need, whether it's Chris Evans' daughter who had an accident or whatever it may be. We seem to pull together and still come and compete and maybe win a little bit of something, but we give so much back. And that's what's cool about this game, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. A great example, a couple of years ago, the memory just popped up on Facebook and somebody shared it. A couple of years ago, we found out that there was a family that was having a benefit at the bar across the way from where we were having Badger State. And so we did a bag raffle locally, and then we did something at Badger State games, just saying, hey, this is what we plan on doing. halfway through the tournament, a bunch of us are going to walk over to the bar and we're going to give a donation to this family because they need it for their child. And I don't know if the child actually benefited from CMNH, but he's definitely one that would fit in that category. So I'm going to guess he probably was a CMNH kid. And I think we raised over $2,000 just in the couple days between what I did here locally and what we did at Badger State. And even Badger State, the event themselves even threw in a couple $100. And we walked over there. These people had no idea who we were, what we were doing, but to see the gratitude on their face for a bunch of cornhole people to walk in and say, here's a couple grand, we hope this helps, to see the people come together like that is why I love this sport and why I love the people in the sport, because we're all here to help one another.
Yeah. Well, you can pick on Andy all you want, but he won seniors this past weekend, and after he beat my butt to knock me out, he gave me a little venison jerky and a chocolate chip cookie. So he consoled me pretty well. That was pretty impressive. I like Andy's got a whole new place in my heart now. It's 10 o'clock at night. I haven't had much to eat, and that jerky was good.
You're one of the lucky ones outside the CRC crew who got beef jerky and a cookie. Nobody gets that, so you should feel really special and high on his list.
Yeah. And Al, you were there competing this past weekend. The competition here across the state, 120 plus players in singles, 64 in doubles. Competition is just getting nuts here, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Wisconsin is really stepping up, and it's representative of the growth of the sport itself. That I mean, that wasn't too long ago. There wasn't any pros in Wisconsin, and now we have 2 ACL pros this year and a couple ACO pros. Keep her going.
Singles finals, we had an ACL pro and Trevor Kufis against ACO pro Maggie Geiger. That was pretty awesome.
Right. And that was a great game to watch too.
Yeah, it's fun to see the great competition and people, just the camaraderie, and that everybody got there safe. Friday was certainly an interesting ride down. I know some people just barely missed the big accidents going down there, but we just want to encourage people, keep an eye out for Badger State games next year, Michael, because you're saying that the number of players probably will be up, so we can get more people in there and make it even a bigger event. And this is really, it's built for all levels, because you guys mix in so many blind draws in between. So even if they do get Jason Garvey'd 0-2 barbecued, they still have a chance to play in those blind draws. You guys do a great job of keeping everybody playing.
Thanks. That was actually part of the growth of this sport at Badger State. Originally we did a couple games, and only some people played the games, especially once the games got to a certain point, some people wouldn't play. And I was trying to figure out a way that we could have some fun, keep the people, going, especially those that get knocked out early, need something to do while, they're not playing. And so I started kicking around, and it's actually something I did at an ACL event when they came to Green Bay a handful of years ago, and they were called sit and go tournaments. And what I did is I added this to Badger State, and people really forgot about the games. They just enjoy doing the sit and goes, and a lot of people don't understand what kind of goes into it. So it's a sit and go tournament where you pay $5, and the first 16 people that sign up are in. We do a random draw. It's one game, single elimination. You win, you move on. You lose, you go sign up for the next sit and go. And half the pot goes to the winners. So there's $80 in the pot. So $40 goes to the winners. And then the other half goes into the sit and go championships. So everybody that wins the sit and go tournament, and we ran 10 of them on Friday, and we ran 8 of them on Saturday. So we had 36 potential people that could have played in the blind draw in the blind draw championships. Now, some people had left. Some people just didn't care, and just, they did leave, but they just, didn't care that they were in. And some people were still playing in doubles. So if you were still playing in doubles, more than likely you were in the money anyway. So you were kind of out, you were out of that tournament. But then we take everybody that had won, they're in that blind draw championship free. We redraw all for new partners, and we do it again. One game, single elimination. winner wins gold in the blind draw championships. And because there was so much money in it, first place got $300, second place got $200, and third and fourth place got $100 each. Now, third and fourth place, because they're in the same position in the bracket, they had to play each other for the bronze medal. So it was kind of a nice little addition that if you didn't make it in singles or doubles, or even in seniors or juniors or women's, you still had a shot at gold and money in the blind draw championship. And everybody loves playing. We can't keep the brackets going out fast enough because we have a line. Next year we're going to have to build ourselves a little line box so that way people stay in it. Yeah, people were, once they got knocked out, they were right back in line to play the next one.
Yeah, you're gonna almost have to dedicate somebody to running the blind draws, you know, to keep it going.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, because right now there's only 3 of us that were kind of taking care of everything. Jordan, who is my normal partner, and then Brad Ludwig, who actually does a lot for Badger State games. He runs a bunch of stuff up in his area, in the Wausau area. He helps every year too. And, you know, Badger State always tries to find a couple volunteers, but we don't always get them for a very long period of time. But yeah, that will definitely be on the list of things we need to talk about for next year, especially if we add more people. We're going to need some more boards, and we're going to need some more help keeping those blind draws going, because I think we could run them all day and all night, and people keep playing them.
Yeah, I know there was a couple people from our area that didn't get signed up in time for singles and doubles, you know, and they went down Friday night for the blind draw, and they said, "Oh, we'll get on the waiting list. If we don't get in, we'll play the blind draws."
Yep. And it gives it. And the nice thing about that too is whether you're in the tournament or not, because there's still some people that are very intimidated by the players that are playing in Badger State games. In their minds, they think everybody that's playing there are pros, and it's really not. You know, we have that full range of, you know, pro players all the way down to still, you know, backyard players. So for those that are, you know, kind of intimidated and unsure that they want to play in, you know, the big, you know, open championships, the blind draws are there for them to just come out and enjoy their time. I mean, you know, you throw in, you know, $5 a spot, and you play 4 matches for $20. Is just like if you were playing in a regular tournament for $20, you know, but you got more games in them, you know, out of it. So it's, you know, those blind draws are huge for the player, or for anybody to come out and play.
Look for the Badger
thing I
State
like
teams.
about playing-
Oh, go ahead, Al. Sorry.
The thing I like about playing a blind draw is a lot of times you get matched up with somebody that you don't know, and by the time you're done, you have a new friend.
Yeah, absolutely. You got a new friend, new cornhole family member, and you might have tried some new bags that you've never tried before, because you might be throwing with theirs or vice versa, you know. So there's always some bonuses to those blind draws.
All right. And yeah, I mean, we got to get more people trash talking. You know, we're so nice up here in Wisconsin at these games. You know, everybody's so nice with Dana Zorn, and you know, even Bob Heil's pretty quiet, at least if he's not playing anyway. But, you know, maybe we should have a special trash talk blind draw at some point where we just let people go at each other a little bit and dump that Midwest nice, right?
Yeah, no, I won't be part of it. My feelings will get too hurt.
A lot of yo mama jokes.
Yeah, no doubt. You know,
Well, Michael, thanks for all you do for the Children's Miracle Network. We're looking forward to coming down to the Ryder Cup there that first week in April. That's a highlight of the year for our crew. So thanks for all you do for cornhole and supporting it, and for the children. And we thank you for taking time to join us. If they want, Michael, if they want to donate something to one of your events, they can always reach you at Facebook, right?
yeah, absolutely. If they're willing to donate, they want to donate some bags or some jerseys or even baskets of something or another. I get that every year that somebody will send me a message and say, "Hey, I'm going to put a basket together for you," and they'll bring it along with. So if you want to donate and help for the raffles, I'll take it. Whatever it is, it always helps.
And on the screen there, I see March 12th on
I
there.
was trying to, yeah, March 12th, 3 divisions. That's the nice thing about this tournament. We do pool play right off the bat. So everybody who comes and plays, no matter how good or how bad you are, you automatically get, I think it's 6 games. I can't remember how many we do in a pool. I think it's 8 in a pool. So you automatically get 7 games, and then we break it into 3 divisions, and you play against the people that are best matched in your division. And it gives you a whole lot of games and a whole lot of fun. So it's it makes people love this format because they get a lot of cornhole in for a lot of bang for
Right.
your buck.
Where are you at this year, Mike? Are you in the Omni Center?
Yep, still in the Omni Center for both CMN and Ryder Cup. So lots of room.
All right, Coulee Region Cornhole, that's Coulee for you UP guys who don't know how to spell up there. Coulee Region Cornhole. Michael, thanks a lot for taking time to join us. We appreciate it very much.
Hey, thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
But
Thanks.
Al Baghdadi, thanks for joining us, bud.
See ya.
Desert Storm, Al Baghdadi, Joel Karnick here. Thanks for tuning into another edition of the Cornhole Insider, our first video podcast. If you guys want to go to ourtruegod.com, get one of these cool hats, put in promo code Joel, they'll give you a couple of bucks off on there. So thanks, and join us again next week for another edition of our Cornhole Insider podcast. See you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Yep.